So, you know, it's a sacrifice on her part, but I try to keep down her that, well, you know, wait till I retire, then we'll have plenty of time to do whatever we want to do, you know.
That's a lot of work.
Well, it is, but, you know, I feel it's important because, you know, somebody needs to do it, because otherwise it's going to be gone. We're not going to have any history or memory of what happened. And
I read it said
it's I think the hobby is the way it is now with commercial racing, especially here in Southern California. It could disappear very easily.
I was worried about that after Chris died.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a potential. I mean, nobody wished that, but I mean, I saw potential it could happen.
Yeah. Right.
And I remember you wrote something on the history part of the blog, something, the sad day. I think you got from your kids. You wrote a long thing.
10 seconds.
But you predicted the future going to be maybe.
Sorry
And
about
it was
that.
really sad.
Car's coming back on now.
You ready to
you
start
ready, Kathy, to
shooting,
proceed?
or
Okay. So yeah, just tell us how you got into slot car racing.
am I sitting in the right spot, or do I need to move?
No,
Or
you're fine.
oh, how I got into it.
Yeah, your first experiences,
Ooh.
that sort of thing.
Unfortunately, I don't have a good memory.
You got it.
Okay. How much time do we have? Okay. Well, basically, the way I started was
Yeah,
kind of
Mike
by
had it too.
accidental. I happened to be working at a McDonald's when I was in senior in high school. This was 1965. And there happened to be a kid working at the McDonald's that was trying to sell a slot car of his. And I had never been to a slot car track or really had any interest in it, nor did I know anything about it. But anyway, he shows me the car, and immediately it caught my attention because it was a scratch-built car. I don't think it was a very good scratch-built car, but it was just fascinating for me to look at it because I'd never seen anything like it. I had seen these ready-to-run cars, you know, that I wasn't really impressed with. But anyway, it caught my attention, and that kind of started my interest in slot cars. After that, I think I went to a local track in Torrance, Checkered Flag Raceway. And that, I started hanging out there, and you know, I don't know how long it was before I ran into Roger,
Brian's out in
another
front
friend
with
named
158.
Craig Gilbert, and Gary
Anderson,
Gilmore.
right behind,
And at that time,
157.
those three were kind of hanging
156,
around together, right? They go to the track on Fridays and
155.
Saturdays, right? And hang out there and, you know, have fun. There weren't any organized races, but they go there and run, and they were kind of like the local hot shots.
Oh.
And so I started hanging
Brian's
out
still
with
holding
them.
fast
and
lap too on black.
next thing I remember was going to a
5.32.
race in Revelle Raceway in LA. And I think that was my first race I had there. But the thing I still remember about it was after the race, I met a person that I had always read about in model airplane magazines, but had never met. And I wanted to meet him. His name is Lee Hines. He was at the race. He was watching our race. But after the race, I think I did pretty well. Anyway, after the race, he comes up and he says, "Hey, you know, congratulating me and wanted to see my car." He's looking at the car and introduced himself. I'm going, "Wow, that's Lee Hines, right?" So, you know, I was all excited about that because even back then, he was a national champion in hand launch gliders. So I had a great admirer of him, and so for me it was a thrill meeting him. Anyway, from that early beginning, continued racing with Roger and Craig and Gary. You know, Roger had a 67 Corvair, and he'd drive us all over to the local tracks. And from that, Rolling Hills Raceway, I think, opened in
Power coming on
'66.
now.
And we go over there and hang out a little bit, and I think eventually, I don't know how it happened, but the owner of the track wanted to start a team, Team Rolling Hills, right? And there were the four of us, perfect for a team, right? So somehow we became Team Rolling Hills. But it was more for fun. We weren't,
Looks like Paul has new fast time
we
on
weren't
lap.
we were good, but we weren't that good, okay? We were not like the Legends racers, you know. We weren't like Stubbe or Sucrus or Warmack, so. But anyway, we had a lot of fun. And then we